I've always known from the time honestly, about 5 or 6 years old, exactly what I wanted to do. My mother loved clothes, and she dressed us really well, and my grandmother made clothes for people. By the time it was time for high school, I knew it was going to be fashion, and then I knew I'd go on to a college that specialized in fashion as well, and couldn't wait to get out into the industry.
Well, was it always a business that you wanted to do? Was design always something that you hoped would turn into business?
My father was a businessman, and my parents discussed business all the time. I always had a sense that I would want to be the designer, but I'd want to be able to control what I was designing and not have the person who was manufacturing the product tell me what to do. My first job, the man who hired me, he said, you could have a nice $2 or $3 million business. And I thought to myself, I don't think so. I think I want to do something bigger.
What was American fashion like then? What was the state of fashion in the US? This is sort of mid to late 1960s.
Well, I was inspired by the American woman who I thought was modern, young. She wanted a career, she wanted a family, she had a family. She did all of these things, and she needed clothes that fit that lifestyle. Well, as it turned out, there were women all over the world that were doing the same thing.
After the first successful sale of his own designs, Klein's business picked up momentum. His clothes struck a chord with the American buying public, and success followed, fast.
From the very beginning, clothes were always minimal. The clothes were always pure. I mean, I don't like a lot of decoration, and I just don't think it's modern. And I think paring anything down to its purity and the essentials is very difficult to do, and ultimately, I think helps make people look really beautiful.
Did you think that maybe the whole design thing, it might not work out at some point?
No, I never thought it would work out. But I saw a lot of talented people disappear because you have to be driven, you have to have confidence in yourself, you have to find an image, you have to find something that you have that's somewhat unique, and then find a way to communicate. I ended up thinking, I'm not going to go to Madison Avenue Advertising Agency to run ads in ID or any other magazine. I could do that myself. I went into the fragrance business myself. I thought when fragrance companies came to me and asked me to do perfume, I thought they'll never understand the way I work. And I thought I'd better, I'll do it, I'll open up my own fragrance company. I lost a lot of money in a couple of years and learned my lesson. But to create things that the world hopefully will want. Business is based on market research. It's a corporate structure. It's no longer just designers coming up with ideas out of nowhere. And I think that's been a huge change. Ultimately, you need to be confident. You need to have people believe in you. You have to be a leader. And even if you're unsure and insecure, don't show it. Go with strength, conviction, and confidence. One of the first commercials that we did, Brooke Shields, she was really young. Her legs are sort of in a position, and the camera moved very slowly across her body, and then comes in on her face, and she says, you know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. Then it was shocking.
But it was very deliberately, it was provocative.
Well, yes. We were thrown off the air on television overnight. And next thing, front page of newspapers, full page of Brooke Shields. We got so much free publicity.
And that knack for publicity continued well into the 1990s.
At Stephen's studio, I see an image of someone in underwear photographed against knotty pine wood and a shag carpet, sort of pink purple. And it was clearly very suggestive. And I said to the group, I said, see that picture? I said, what about if the campaign were jeans, but looked like that? And so Stephen said, would you do that? And I said, yes.
Do that he did. Klein spoke directly to America's youth, taking the tried and tested idea that sex sells and pushing it further than he ever had before. Mizell shot commercials were an instant hit with the country's young. What Klein underestimated, however, was the extent to which soundbite politics were increasingly dominating the country, and the only people that hated the adverts more than the parents were the politicians.
Bill Clinton was running for president, and family values was a big issue between the Democrats and the Republicans. And Bill Clinton says, those Calvin Klein commercials, I don't like them, they're not good. And then the Justice Department in Washington came after us. If it's photographed on an erogenous zone, it's considered pornography. Who knew any of this? You'd have to be a lawyer.
As well as his ability to shock, Klein retained an amazing capacity for talent spotting.
I was driving along Sunset Boulevard, and I see this great-looking guy running. And so I stopped the car, jump out, introduced myself, and I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in school. He said, I'm a triathlete. I said, have you ever modeled? He said, no. I said, good.
And this was Tom?
Tom Hittenhouse.
Yes.
We were introducing the men's underwear, and we photographed him in this beautiful white environment in Santorini, and he's standing there in our underwear. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just amazing. People in New York were breaking the bus stop shelters. These posters were under glass, and they were breaking the glass and stealing the posters. Well, I thought I could tell the story better than anyone else. And I like to push the envelope. And I like to work with really creative people, directors, photographers, hairstylists, makeup people. I just love the process. And then I like being in control, that I can then decide how it's cut and how it's edited, and decide what I want to run. I loved it. I do that at night. Yeah.
What do you think about the interplay between traditional social conventions and fashion? For instance, should bankers and lawyers wear suits? And what do you think about maxims like, for shoes, no brown in town?
Shoe part, I think I missed. What was that again?
No brown in town. In the city here in London, people say you shouldn't wear brown shoes to work if you're a lawyer or a banker.
I've never worn brown shoes in my life. I don't even know about that. It depends on the location. My closest friends live in Los Angeles, a place I would never live. But everyone's more relaxed. It's only in New York where people, I rarely wear suits. I have so many suits, but I wear jackets all the time, but usually with jeans and t-shirts. And I thought I'd get dressed for you guys this morning. In New York, I expect my business manager and my investment advisors happen to be women. The people who ran my companies were all women, because I always thought I was in the women's business. So I hired smart women. And but I wouldn't feel good if in New York if my banker or my tax advisor came in jeans and a t-shirt. I would just think, now in LA, they can get away, they get away with it because no one wears jackets.